What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Midnight Express here on the MI6 Sports Network. Hopefully, you guys all had a wonderful holiday break and a happy Merry Christmas. My name is Isaiah Leung. I'm joining you today from Fremont, California on this special Sunday. I am joined by my guy, Martin Garcia. Martin, how are you doing today on this Sunday, December 27th?
I'm doing pretty great, man. I'm just enjoying the weekend, enjoying the holidays. Christmas just came up. I'm already ready for the New Year's, man. So it's just a fun, cheery time around these days.
Hope you had a fantastic Christmas, Martin. It's been like a nice couple of days, a nice break for us here on the network, but it's really great to finally get back to programming here on the MI6 Sports Network. Like it says down below, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing our 31 days of hot takes hot takes bracket challenge right now. You can go to the MI6 Sports Network Facebook page and you can go vote on this video. Today's hot take challenge is between me and Steven. It is my it's my moment of me ordering a pina colada live on air versus Steven saying Gen Z clutch live on the air. So whichever one that you guys thought was the best moment, go vote on it, and we will reveal the results at the end of the show tonight. But Martin, let's get into it, shall we? I mean, we had a lot of NFL games this weekend. We had a lot of NFL news this weekend as well. Oh, actually, before we get into it, just a reminder, y'all, make sure you guys, tune into the entire show, because at the end of the show, we are going to be revealing my Secret Santa gift. I finally got it. So we'll be opening it and revealing it live on the show. So that's going to be fun. Make sure you guys tune in to the end of the show for that. But Martin, let's get to our first game. This game happened yesterday afternoon in the desert, the 49ers against the Arizona Cardinals, and the 49ers pull off a major upset of the Arizona Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals 20-12 in Glendale, Arizona. CJ Beathard, 182 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The 49ers running game was extremely effective yesterday, and the defense was just stout for the 49ers. Martin, what was your biggest takeaway from the 49ers upset over the Cardinals?
My biggest takeaway goes towards the Cardinals itself, man. It's not the Niners that they're a great team. It's the Cardinals. They've been an inconsistent team this season, man. They're 8-7. They're closing on a potentially a 500 season. A team that was poised to make the playoffs. It's not looking that way right now, you know. And props to the Niners. They won without their quarterback, without their starting quarterback, and without their, official backup quarterback. But I think this really stands out towards the Cardinals. It shows how inconsistent they are, and it shows that they're just too young still. They're a young team. We gave them high props, but I just don't see them going into the playoffs anymore, man. I mean, the 7th seed right now is the Bears at 8-7. They got the Jacksonville Jaguars playing next week. Or my bad. They got next week. They played the Jaguars this week. They beat them. So now they're heading to week 17 to a potential easy victory. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are on the brink of elimination. I just don't see them making the playoffs at all. Congrats on the 49ers getting the upset, of course, but I think it just shows the Cardinals are 1 year too young, just like the Raiders are 1 year too young.
Yeah, Martin, very valid points there. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into my thoughts on the 49ers, I'm happy to welcome in Shardot Gupta to the show today. Shardot, thanks for joining us here on the Midnight Express. Really appreciate you staying up late to talk some football with us. Welcome on the Midnight Express. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. And how are you doing on this Sunday night?
I'm doing really great on this Sunday night.
Awesome, man. Awesome. But my thoughts on the 49ers Cardinals game is, a lot of people are making it out to be that CJ Beathard had this amazing game, that CJ Beathard put the 49ers on his back and willed them to victory, and he is so much better than Nick Mullins. Look at his stats, ladies and gentlemen. CJ Beathard was 13 of 22, 182 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 0 interception. Those are type of stats that Nick Mullins normally produces for the 49ers. I guarantee you, if CJ Beathard was playing against the Cowboys, if he was playing against the Washington football team, if he was playing against the Bills, they would have gotten slaughtered. And you would have been saying the same thing that you've been saying about Nick Mullins that you would be about CJ Beathard. So let's not get on our high horses about CJ Beathard. CJ Beathard is a decent quarterback. He gets the ball out too slow. He doesn't really have that good pocket presence. It wasn't him that won that game for the 49ers. Yes, he did play a small part in the 49ers winning this football game, but the real reason why the Niners won this game is because the Cardinals could not stop the run. I mean, Jeff Wilson Jr. literally looked like the second coming of a prime Adrian Peterson out there against the Cardinals. He had 22 carries, 183 yards. The guy was averaging 8 yards per carry. That's how dynamic he was on the ground yesterday. The Niners offensive line, which has been really bad the last couple of weeks, or throughout this entire season, they've been really bad. They actually put up a decent game yesterday. They opened up a lot of gashing holes for Jeff Wilson to run through. I mean, CJ Beathard also chimed in on the action. He had 3 carries for 18 yards. Ayuk had a carry for 16 yards. But the 49ers, they dominated in the running game against the Arizona Cardinals. Their defensive line and their offensive line dominated the Cardinals' offensive line and defensive line, respectively. They dominated the line of scrimmage against the Arizona Cardinals, and that's why they won the football game, because they dominated the line of scrimmage, and that's what you have to do to win football games in the NFL. You have to dominate the line of scrimmage, and the Niners, that's how they are as a football team. They are a run-heavy football team that relies on a great defense and for their quarterback to not turn the football over. And that's what happened yesterday, and that's why they won the game. The 49ers, they still need to get another quarterback, whether it's in the draft or whether it's free agency, because Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not the answer. He gets too injured often. And also CJ Beathard, he's not the answer. Nick Mullins, you guys heard my comments about him last week. Nick Mullins is definitely not the answer in San Francisco, but it was a great win for the 49ers. And Callan, Merry Christmas to you and your Chicago Bears. Hopefully you enjoyed that Christmas gift that my 49ers got you, because, we got you a playoff berth right there. But Chardot, you are our resident 49ers fan as well. What was your thoughts on that game?
I was actually pretty surprised by the game that they won. I was actually surprised that they actually won it, because they made so many wonderful plays that they won that game. It was an upset. So it was actually pretty surprising that they won that game. As a Niner fan, I was pretty amazed that they actually, ended up winning that game. But our playoff hopes are dashed. So hopefully that's not happening. We're not making the playoffs. So if anybody has hopes of that happening, they should get that out of their mind, because that definitely is not happening. But it was a really great win, and I'm happy for the team that they pulled it off and got that win. So I'm really happy for the team. They're really a really talented group with Ayuk and all those great guys. So it's really great that we finally got that upset, and there's nothing else I can say about that.
Yeah, great win indeed. It was a very great Christmas present for me and the rest of the 49er faithful out there. But let's go to our comment box to see what our fans have to say about this. First of all, Casey King tunes in and says, "Hi guys, and hope you guys had a good Christmas." Same to you, Casey. Also, James Gonzalez tunes in and says, "Hi everyone, what's up, James? Hopefully you had a Merry Christmas." Casey King also says, "I'm not surprised that the Niners beat the Cardinals as long as Cliff Kingsbury, the fraud, is there as their coach. They ain't going anywhere." I gotta agree with that. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't even know why he got hired by the Cardinals. I mean, this guy had a losing record as a head coach at Texas Tech in college football, and he gets hired as a head coach. Makes no sense whatsoever. Also, James Gonzalez says, big props to the 49ers defense and Jeff Wilson Jr. running wild. Cardinals playing bad football at the wrong time. Murray making bad decisions, throwing the ball. Yeah, he did. But I think you also got to give credit to Akello Witherspoon. I mean, that guy made one of the most clutches, amazing interceptions that I've seen in a long time. I mean, that interception in the end zone when Kyler was driving them down the field, he picks off Kyler by leaping up in the air to make that interception. It was a well thrown, or it was a pretty good thrown ball, and it was just a great play made by Akello Witherspoon. So credit to him. Callan chimes in with the Bears. The Bears. Callan, hope you enjoy that playoff spot, buddy. I am certainly eating a lot of humble pie here. I don't know if you guys remember this, but like 3-4 weeks ago, after Nick Mullins and the Niners beat the Los Angeles Rams, I went on this network and went on one of our shows and, talked a bunch of garbage to Callan and John Alcorn, who was there on the show that day with us. And I told them, like, hey, hope you guys enjoy the losers sofa because I'm off the losers sofa and my team is going to the playoffs and my team becomes the first team out of those three, the Broncos and the Bears and the Niners, to be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So that hurts. But Callan, enjoy the playoffs, my friend. James Gonzalez says, Bears in the driver's seat to get into the playoffs. Who would have thought that a month ago? Yeah, who would have thought that a month ago when they were on like a 7-game losing streak?
To be fair, they started off 5-0, man. They should be in the playoffs by week 10, man.
That is true. But got to give credit to the Bears, though. They still managed to pull it out, even though it was getting tough for them. And, I mean, I know the Jaguars, they didn't try today because we all knew the Jags were trying to get Trevor Lawrence. But still, the Bears put up a lot of points today against the Jaguars. And they've put up a lot of points the last couple of weeks against both the Texans and then last week against Detroit. And then, Detroit, the Texans, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars. Callan also says, Isaiah loses again. Please don't play that clip. Whatever you do, do not play that clip. James Gonzalez says, got a feel for DeAndre Hopkins. He's hurt as doing everything he can to win a game. I think, James, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought DeAndre Hopkins, he did come back in that game. He was hurt, but he came back in the second half. But, the Cardinals, they are trending in the wrong direction at the wrong time. Yeah, that's my reaction right now because, unfortunately, Callan's team is most likely going to the playoffs, and my team is done.
Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. Skull, 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 skull. Skull, 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 skull. Still keep on losing. Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. He's worse than Stephen Wayne. He's worse than Stephen Wayne. Skills keep on losing. Skull, 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 skull.
Oh, damn it! Damn it! Damn it!
Steven, I got one thing to say to you, bro. How about your Minnesota Vikings? Enjoy that loser sofa with me, buddy. But, moving on to our next game, we're going to go to the Broncos and Chargers game that played out today in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And, the Chargers nearly choke again as they had a 13-0 lead against the Broncos, a 16-3 lead entering the fourth quarter of that game against the Broncos. And the Broncos roared back. They tie the game, but ultimately their defense breaks in the end. And Justin Herbert leads them down the field for a game-winning field goal, and the Broncos, Drew Lock, the desperation Hail Mary is intercepted in the final seconds to clinch the victory for the Chargers. Chargers win this game 19-16. But Martin, I'm going to go to you first on this. What was your biggest takeaway from this Chargers-Broncos football game?
I mean, the biggest takeaway was that the Drew Lock saga continues. Drew Lock has been underperforming like crazy. He had 2 picks today. He had 0 touchdowns, and he keeps causing the Broncos to lose these games, man. I mean, the Broncos are supposed to be built off of defense. I get that, but you still need to produce as a competent NFL quarterback. And if you're throwing the ball 47 times and you only complete just under half of those completions while throwing for 2 interceptions, I mean, I don't know what you're doing out over there in Denver. The Chargers got away with the lucky one, man. If they played any other team, they would have lost after blowing that lead, because Drew Lock played mediocre again. And as for the actual Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert, for a rookie, he's amazing, man. 21 of 30 passes, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. Justin Herbert, in my opinion, is at this point the best quarterback of this draft. And he looks like an actual veteran. He looks like a veteran at times, man. And then you got Drew Lock over here, a couple years in the league now, 2nd year, I believe. And he's still playing like a rookie, man. I don't get it. I mean, I get the Chargers almost blew it tonight or earlier today, but to me, it just shows when you have a real quarterback, you always have a chance of winning. I get the Chargers always blow it somehow, but I mean, they're young, and you got a promising quarterback, and you got a decent defense. I'll say that, decent defense. So I think biggest takeaway is Denver needs a quarterback. The Chargers, although they do tend to blow the leads, they're in great hands under Justin Herbert. I'll say that. I think they're in great hands, and I think they'll be a playoff contender in the coming years. As for the Broncos, I think they're headed towards a decline, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Drew Lock's stats, you can see that he had a really bad game. I mean, like you mentioned, Martin, he was 24 of 47, 264 yards passing, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. He did have a rushing touchdown, however, but, I don't pin this game or this loss on Drew Lock. Or I pin it a little bit on Drew Lock, but not mainly on him. I pin this loss mostly on Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, who was drafted by the Broncos in the 1st round in this past NFL draft, everybody was hyping him up to be, the best wide receiver in the draft. Martin, I know you desperately wanted Jerry Jeudy on the Las Vegas Raiders, but Jerry Jeudy had 6 critical drops in this football game. I mean, the guy was like, the ball was thrown right to him and he would drop it. He had so many easy passes that he dropped. It was such a frustrating game for Jerry Jeudy today. And I think he cost the Broncos the game, because there was one time where Drew Lock put it right on the money to him. This was, I think, in the 3rd quarter, right on the money to him. It was 3rd and 10. He puts it right to him and he drops the ball. Would have been a walk-in touchdown. And then the biggest drop, however, was in the waning moments of this game. I mean, in the 4th quarter, Denver trying to desperately get into field goal range to tie this game up and force overtime. And Drew Lock, drops back. He fires a deep ball. And Jerry Jeudy, he is wide open. I mean, the guy is wide open. Drew Lock couldn't have thrown the ball any better. And Jeudy goes up, makes the catch, and as he's going down, he drops the football. Like, you have to make that catch. You have to make that catch. That would have been probably a touchdown for the Denver Broncos, because there was only only one defender that were only near him. So Jerry Jeudy cost him this football game. I feel really bad for him. I really hope that his confidence doesn't get shaken from this. I hope he bounces back. But it was a very frustrating game for him. If he catches a couple of those balls, I think Denver wins this football game. But, I got to pin this on Jeudy mainly than on Drew Lock. I know Drew Lock did have a really frustrating game as well. But the defense played well for Denver. They kept them in this football game. They only held the Chargers to field goals after, the early touchdown. But the offense was just dormant as usual. I mean, they didn't score until the waning moments of the third quarter. I mean, you can't do that. You can't be like, getting shut out by the Chargers or getting shut out by any other team the entire game, and then you finally wake up in like the final minute of the third quarter. You gotta, if you want to win football games in the NFL, you gotta play consistent football. And the Denver Broncos, their offense just didn't show up until it was too late for the Denver Broncos. But Chardot, what is your thoughts on this Broncos Chargers game?
I was really pissed off on this game, if you ask me, because you can, in a game, you have to limit the amount of mistakes that you make. You cannot make as many mistakes in a game. It's not acceptable. You cannot make like an open pass. You have like a guy is open right there and you miss it. Like he's like right there. He could score a touchdown and then he misses it. So I was pissed off that the Broncos made so many crucial mistakes in this game. If they limited those amount of mistakes, they could have won this game. This game could have been an easy victory for them. But if they made so many mistakes, you can't have a team win a game when you make so many simple mistakes that you could have capitalized on. If you make those mistakes, there's no way you're going to win the game. That's it. Simple as that. You're not going to win the game if you make simple mistakes like that. You're not going to win the game. It's as a sports fan. I'm a sports fan. I have watched games on TV where people have made simple errors on the field, and then it's just there's nothing else I have to say about this game, man. This game is like disappointing to every extent.
I'll say this though. I'll say this. At least for the Broncos' sake, these two teams are fighting for pride and nothing else. Because both teams, I mean, Denver's 5-10 now, and Los Angeles Chargers, they're 6-9. So at this point, they're fighting for pride and for draft positioning. So if anything, congrats, Denver. Your draft pick got a little better.
Yeah, draft pick got a little better indeed. And Martin, that game next week between the Broncos and the Raiders.
Dude,
I mean, hey,
I hope the Raiders lose. I hope the Raiders lose. It's stupid to win at this point. 8-8 doesn't matter. 7-9 doesn't matter. Get that better draft pick.
The Raiders are already out of the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter if they get that win against Denver. It doesn't really matter because they're eliminated, so it doesn't really matter if they win it. They could win it for hell they care. They could win that stupid game.
Yeah, I say go ahead and lose, man. Get the better draft pick.
They could win that game against the Raiders. Could win the game against Denver. They go ahead and win that game. I don't care. Go and win that game. You're not going to make the playoffs. Go and win that game. I don't care. Go, just win that game, okay? I don't just go and just win it. Like I don't care. Just win that game against the freaking Raiders because they're out of the goddamn playoffs now, so it doesn't even give a crap.
And that's how I feel towards the Broncos. Go ahead and win the game, man. Win the game
win it.
and get us the better draft pick.
Yeah, win that game, man. I don't care. They're
Martin,
out.
I have a feeling that game might end up like in a tie because none of those teams want to win that game. I mean, the Broncos are fighting to get that draft pick. The Raiders, like you mentioned, they're trying to get that draft pick. So it's gonna be like a toilet bowl next week. I believe the game is in Denver, right? Yeah,
it is in Denver.
Yeah.
I hope Denver wins, man. I really do. It'll be great.
Hey, I mean, Denver might want some revenge after what happened back in October or November when your Raiders, opened a can of ass whooping on the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, but James Gonzalez says David Montgomery has been money for Chicago lately. Yes, we will get into that game in a little bit. He definitely has been money for the Bears. James also says, I was hoping that the Denver and Chargers game would end in a tie. Makes sense because he's a Raiders fan. James also says Jerry Jeudy was having a frustrating game. Yeah, it's really tough for the rookie. Hopefully he bounces back and, doesn't go into a shell and really, loses his confidence after this type of a game. And James also says, Drew, not a lock. Yes, the Denver Broncos, they need to go get their franchise quarterback this offseason, whether it's, in free agency or trade or in the draft, whatever. Go get your franchise quarterback. Because I can admit right now, and I don't know if my guy Callum McClurg is watching, but I'm going to put the camera on me right now. I'm going to put the camera on me, and I'm going to go live on here and admit this right now. Drew Lock is not the franchise quarterback of the Denver Broncos. He is not the answer. I do not know why I was so high on him, earlier in the season when I hyped him up. This guy, I've watched him play. He's a backup on a good team. He's not a starting quarterback. I'm sorry to say this. He's regressed big time. I hope that Drew Lock can prove me wrong, but I gotta sell my Drew Lock stock. I'm done with the guy. He's not franchise quarterback material. But moving on to our third game that we've got here on the slate, we are going to Seattle, Washington, and Lumen Field, where the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks today met up for a battle, for an NFC West battle that would decide who wins the NFC West. And the Seattle Seahawks throttle the Los Angeles Rams. They beat the Rams 20-9 and clinch the NFC West. And if there was and to make matters worse for the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Goff suffered a broken thumb in that game, and he is most likely out next week against the Arizona Cardinals. And the Rams are going to have more information in the coming days about if he's out for, I believe, or how much longer he will be out. He might miss the first game of the postseason. We don't know. We'll find that out in the coming days and hours to come. But Martin, Seattle wins the NFC West again. They beat the Rams 20-9. What's your thoughts on this game, man?
I mean, you guys know I said the Seahawks won a division, right? Was it ever really in question? Maybe for a little bit. Maybe for like a little second it was. But the Seahawks win the division like I said they would. The Seahawks are going to make the playoffs. Obviously, they made it. They're going to go to Super Bowl, and they're going to win it all, man. This team is the defense is trash. It's like the Raider defense, trash. But they showed up today. They beat the Rams. What happened to this Rams team that was supposed to be a great offensive team again? It hasn't shown up again. And now without Jared Goff, I mean, they're still in the playoff driver's seat, but it's looking like an early out. It really is. I think Seattle still is the top contender of the NFC to win it all, man. I mean, let's look at the stats here really quick. Jared Goff, 24-43, 234 yards, 1 interception. So I mean, Jared Goff doing Jared Goff things. He's not an elite quarterback. He's never been a great quarterback. He's an average quarterback. That's what I would say. Then he got hurt. So, I mean, good luck with that in the future. But if we're looking at the actual contender here, the Seahawks, you got Russell Wilson, 20 for 32, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks, a clean game pretty much. And that's what you need from Russell. And he also had a rushing touchdown. So, I think Seahawks still win Super Bowl, man. That's my take.
Really? You think Seattle can win the Super Bowl right now, even though they have a really bad defense?
Yes, sir. They're my pick for the NFC.
Well, I mean, I don't know because right now, I think the Chiefs will come out of the AFC, but the NFC is really like crowded right now. You have the Packers, but the Packers, they have. Their defense is not really that good. They have Aaron Rodgers. They've got a dynamic offense. But, again, that defense. Seattle, Russell Wilson, Metcalf and the guys, Lockett. The defense, big question mark. And then New Orleans, Drew Brees, that offense, they've got a really good defense as well. But is Drew Brees how is he going to do in the postseason? Because when you look at Drew Brees and his play, since he's come back from those broken ribs, he hasn't really played that well. So that's a thing to keep an eye on as we move forward. Martin, honestly, for me, I would say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are my favorite to come out of the NFC because Brady and crew have been rolling the last 3 weeks. I know they played against some really bad teams like the Lions and Falcons and those teams, like those really garbage teams that don't have anything to play for. But still, I mean, they've got great weapons. Brady's finally looking like the Tom Brady that we know and love. The defense has been playing pretty solid as of late. So, I mean, like right now, the NFC is just really crowded. But if you have to ask me right now, I would put Tampa Bay as my favorite. But, in terms of this game, Martin, I first of all, the Rams could still miss the playoffs if the Bears win next week and the Rams lose to Arizona. The Bears and Arizona would get in over the Los Angeles Rams. So that is something to keep an eye out for. And with Jared Goff, missing the game because of that broken thumb, that is looking very likely that the Rams could miss the playoffs. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days. But I think that this game, the reason why Seattle won this football game was, first of all, when the Rams were going on that winning streak, it was like a couple of weeks ago. I said this is how the Rams needed to win their football games. They need to dominate the line of scrimmage. Offensive line needs to dominate, defensive line needs to dominate. And in their last two games, their offensive line has been bullied by the opponent's defensive line. I mean, they haven't run the football that well. Darrell Henderson, 12 carries, only 62 yards. Malcolm Brown, 7 carries, 27 yards. The Rams are a team that they rely on a run-heavy offense. They're just like the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo. They don't want to let their quarterback, have to put the team on his back and will them to victory. They need the running game to be very effective and the quarterback to just do very little and for the defense to play very well, and that's how they win games. The running game wasn't really that effective today. Like I mentioned earlier, Darrell Henderson, 12 carries, 62 yards. Malcolm Brown, 7 carries, 27 yards. But I think the problem was play calling, Martin. I think Jared Goff, he threw the ball way too much. He attempted 43 passes. I know most of the passes came when they were down, but that's why, when the Rams go down, it's really hard to see them winning football games because they are a team that relies on the run and relies on a great defense and relies on, having the lead to play or to run their offense at an elite level. But when they're down and they have to throw the football, I don't think you can rely on Jared Goff to, put the team on his back and lead you to victory. I just don't see that. Congratulations to the Seahawks. They played a really outstanding game today. Russell Wilson did his thing. Metcalf was pretty decent. Chris Carson ran the ball really well in this football game. But the Rams, if they go down, if the Rams are behind in the game, they're in trouble. They are in big trouble, and they can't play from behind. That's the issue facing the Rams right now. But Shardo, what is your big takeaways from this Rams Seahawks game as the Seahawks win the NFC West once again? Shardo, I think you're muted, buddy.
I think this is a really was a really great win for the Seahawks because many people were doubting how great this football team really is, and they're showing that they're dominant, they can take charge, and people can doubt us. I mean, because many people are saying that the Seahawks are not good, Seahawks are bad, they're not the best football team in the NFL. They're showing that, and that's what they did today. There was a dominant win over the Rams. They beat them 20-9. So they showed everybody that we're the dominant team and we're probably the most electric football team, in the NFL with Russell Wilson and KJ Wright and all those great players who play for the Seahawks. They're showing that this team is dominant. This team can really, take care of business. When they step onto the field, they show that this team can really, show that they can really prove that they're the best team in the NFL. And I think they are the best team in the NFL, in my opinion.
I know you think the Rams or you think the Seahawks are the best team in the NFL?
No, because of I don't know how I was saying that. I was saying that they I don't know how to phrase this question. I I just thought they played a really great game against the Rams. They came out and won that game with really furiously.
I'll say this: they may not be the best team, but they'll be the hottest team in the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now.
That's what that's what I meant. I meant they're the hottest team. They're the hottest team in the NFL. I was trying to get that out, but it didn't come out as I expected.
Yeah, guys, let's go to our comment section. Our comment section is blowing up. I mean, oh my gosh. Callan, running the MI6 Sports Network stream tonight, says maybe if you quit hyping up players and teams after one game or one quarter, maybe you wouldn't be such a jinx. Callan, I have learned from my mistake, buddy. I will definitely, try to not overhype a player after 5 games next time and declare that team to be or to be my choice to win the division after just 5 games. Casey King, he chimes in. Rams offense has become a bunch of Higgins these last 2 weeks. Yes, Casey, they have become a bunch of Higgins, but I think the reason why is because, like I said earlier, their offensive line is getting bullied. The Rams, they need to reestablish their dominance in the line of scrimmage for them to have success. And I think they honestly, without Jared Goff, they could have a lot of success doing what the 49ers did this past Saturday, and that is just running the football, because when you look at Arizona, they have trouble stopping the run. I mean, the Rams ran wild against them back when they played. The Niners ran wild against them. Look for the Rams to establish the line or their dominance on the line of scrimmage next week against Arizona, because they have to do that if they want to win that football game. Callan also chimes in saying Seattle wins the NFC West. Isaiah loses again. Don't worry, Callan. The Niners won the NFC West last year. They were snake bitten by injuries throughout this entire year. We will see. The Niners will be back. I can guarantee you that. James Gonzalez says Rams looking to their backup, John Wolford, who played in the AAF. I have no idea who that is, but hopefully he's decent. And, the Rams, like I told Casey earlier, you got to run the football against Arizona and not put too much on John Wolford's plate. James Gonzalez also said it looked bad at times, but I picked Seattle to win the once wild West at the start. Yeah, it was truly a wild division. We still might see 3 teams from the NFC West in the postseason, but Seattle wins it again. They got to fix that defense, though. They do, in fact, want to win the Super Bowl. James also says, seems like every week someone new is the best in the NFC between Green Bay, New Orleans, and Tampa. Yeah, James, completely agree with you. That's why the NFC is a very crowded and wild conference, is because we honestly don't know who's going to come out of the NFC. We know in the AFC is probably going to be the Chiefs, but in the NFC, there's really not one team that stands out right now, and it's going to come down to whoever is the hottest team in the play or entering the playoffs that I believe will come out of the NFC. Casey King actually also says, I don't see anybody in the NFC winning the Super Bowl. They all can be beat, and whoever does come out of the NFC, I see getting beat by the Chiefs or the Bills. Hell, watch out for Baltimore, as the Ravens could be a scary team if they do, in fact, get in the postseason. James also says he predicts Chiefs over Saints for the Super Bowl. Casey King, even with Goff out, I don't see them losing to the Arizona Cardinals. This Rams defense way better than the Cards, and Rams own the Cards even when the Rams were so bad in 2015 and 16 and still beat the Cards. James Gonzalez also says Rams are a roller coaster team this season. They are winning and losing streaks all over. Yeah, I agree with you, James. The one thing I've seen from the Rams is when their offensive line is establishing that dominance that I was talking about, they win. But when their offensive line is getting bullied, that's when they lose, and they are on these losing streaks. So every week, it depends on how that offensive line plays that I think will determine the game for the Rams. Jake or Casey also says, but if I have to say right now, I go with Packers versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl with the Chiefs winning it again, but it could change in the postseason on the NFC side. That would be a rematch, I believe, of Super Bowl. Martin, correct me if I'm wrong. Super Bowl 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Super Bowl 3. That would be a rematch of Super Bowl 3. James Gonzalez, nothing is ever easy with Seattle. Every game is close with them. Yes, that was like the 49ers last year. I mean, every game was down to the final minute or second. I mean, it was gut-wrenching to watch some of those games, but hey, that's how Seattle is right now. They got to fix that defense if they want to win the Super Bowl. And Callan says it's Huggies, not Higgins. Damn, I almost butchered it again.
Super Bowl 1, Isaiah.
Yes, it's Huggies, right. It's also Johnson and Johnson, not Jones and Jones. And right, James Gonzalez corrects me. It was actually Super Bowl 1, not Super Bowl 3. Thank you, James, for the correction. But Martin Chardot, let's move on to our fourth game of the night. And this involves my guy, Callan McClurg's Chicago Bears, as the Bears demolish the Jacksonville Jaguars in Chicago today. The Bears beat the Jaguars 41-17. Mitchell Trubisky was 24-35, 265 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. David Montgomery, 23 carries, 95 yards, and a touchdown. The Bears put themselves in the driver's seat to get that final playoff spot in the NFC. Martin, first of all, what is your thoughts on the Bears demolishing the Jaguars? And do you think that on next week Sunday, when all is said and done, do you believe that the Bears will be the team that gets that final playoff spot in the NFC?
So looking at the playoff standings, the Bears are the 7th seed right now. The Packers are the 1st seed, obviously. That's who they play next week. I don't think I still don't think the Bears make the playoffs, man.
You think they lose to Green Bay?
Yeah, I think they lose to Green Bay, man. Because I was just looking at the playoff picture, and the way it's set up, it's just the Packers don't afford to lose next week. If they lose and the Saints win, all of a sudden the Saints take the one and only bye week. So I think the Packers go in week 17, whoop the Bears' ass, and not only that, they whoop the Bears' ass. And the Cardinals, looking back at it now, the Cardinals. Let me see who do they play week 17. I really don't see it happening for them. I'm sorry for the Bears fans for Callan, because the Cardinals can't. Oh, they play the Rams. The Cardinals play the Rams. Without Jared Goff, I'm sorry, you're losing, man. The Rams. Who the hell is the Rams backup? Do you guys know by chance?
It's John Wolford from the AAF.
Oof. Okay, yeah. So the Rams are losing. I'm sorry. I'll bet anybody. Rams are losing. So I see the Cardinals sneaking in, last second sneak-in playoffs. The Bears miss out. You got to make fun of the Bears though, man. They started off 5-0 and they just collapsed. I mean, they don't really deserve the playoff spot. I mean, just like the Raiders collapsed, the Bears collapsed, man. So I don't. I'm sorry, but the Bears are missing the playoffs, man. This team is not. They have an elite defense, and they have a bipolar Mitchell Trubisky, which decides to play hella good one game and then hella bad the next game.
Yeah, Martin, I completely agree with you. When I look at, well, first, let me look at this game. The Bears, Mitchell Trubisky had another great performance. We laid out his stats earlier, but come on, man. You're playing the Jaguars. There's not really much stock to take from this game. I mean, the Jaguars, they were basically begging the Bears to crush them so they could get Trevor Lawrence, which they did. So, Trevor Lawrence, congratulations, man. You don't have to go to the Jets. You are now going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I think is a much better place for you. But, the Bears, I think the reason why the Bears have had a revival the last couple of weeks is because they finally figured out their identity. They aren't a team that, is like the Chiefs that are going to throw the football like 100 times. They are a team that is going to be a run-heavy football team that is going to rely on that running game, rely on that defense, and let Mitchell Trubisky get Mitchell Trubisky to just not make any mistakes and just do as little as possible, and that's how they win the football game. They're like the Rams or like the Niners with Goff and with Jimmy Garoppolo and C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins. That's who the Bears are. And the Bears, they've been running the football really well the last couple of weeks, which has really opened up the passing game for the Chicago Bears. And, I think the Bears, if they do get into the playoffs, they are going to be a very, very scary team come postseason time. Do I think the Bears will get into the playoffs? It's going to be very tough because Green Bay has had the Bears number recently, so I don't know if they beat the Bears, but hey, it's still in Chicago. It's at Soldier Field, so the Bears, they could have a chance to win that game. But I believe the scenario is laid out like this. Even if the Bears lose, I think the Bears can still make the playoffs if the Rams beat the Cardinals. Or no, if the Rams lose to the Cardinals. I think that's how it works. I might be wrong on that, but the Bears would get in if the Cardinals were to beat the Rams, because the Rams would, I think, have less, or they would have more losses than the Bears, and the Bears somehow own the tiebreaker or something like that. We'll have to figure that out in the coming days. But I think the Bears get in, Martin. I really do, because I think the Rams lose to the Cardinals, because I don't trust John Wolford, and Arizona is going to stack the box against the Rams on Sunday to make John Wolford have to beat them. I just don't see John Wolford beating them. So I think the Bears and the Cardinals make the playoffs, and the Rams are the one that gets left out on the outside looking in. That's my prediction of who gets that 6th and 7th seed in the NFC. But Chardot, what about you, man? What was your takeaway from today's Bears-Jaguars game, and what do you think about the Bears' chances of making the playoffs on Sunday?
I agree with Martin 100%. I believe the Chicago Bears are a dumpster fire of a team, in my opinion, because of Mitchell Trubisky. Because how bad of a quarterback he is. They have to trade that guy. Why in the hell are they trading him? What the hell's wrong with the Bears, man? They should trade him. He's so bad. He's so bad. Like probably the reason why they're doing so horrible is just because of him. I mean, I don't want to say that, but they should trade Trubisky. He's not doing good. He's horrible, and they're not gonna make it to the playoffs. So if Martin said they're not gonna make it, I 100% agree with Martin that the Bears aren't gonna make the playoffs. It's not happening. So the Bears fans shouldn't get their hopes up too high, because they're not gonna make the playoffs. That's it. It's just not gonna happen. That's Yeah, that's what I think about the Bears.
Yeah, valid points, Chardot and Martin. Going into our comment section, again, we have a lot of comments from our great fans. Casey King clarifies about the Packers and the Chiefs Super Bowl. He says, yes, right, you are, James, and that Super Bowl one was played at the Coliseum. James Gonzalez says Jags win even when they lose. Ha ha. Yeah, my guy Nolan Harmon, who is a huge Jaguars fan. I mean, the guy was popping champagne today when he found out that his hometown Chicago Bears had beaten his Jacksonville Jaguars, and also he found out that the Jets had beaten the Cleveland Browns, which secured Trevor Lawrence for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So congratulations to you, Nolan. Merry Christmas to you. Hopefully you enjoyed your Christmas present. Callan chiming in saying the Bears won't beat Green Bay, but with the Rams hopefully beating Arizona, Chicago gets in and is eliminated against the number 2 seed. Callan, I'll say this to you, buddy. I kind of do want the Bears to get in, and I don't want the Bears to get in because if the Bears do get in, you would get to go to the playoffs, and we would our entire network would galvanize with your squad and cheer you on, and hopefully make the Super Bowl. But if the Bears no, and also if the Bears do get in, I'm gonna have to eat humble pie for those words that I said. About you and John Alcorta enjoying the loser's sofa while my team makes the playoffs. But if your team doesn't make the playoffs, I will be happy because I don't have to eat those words. So it's kind of a win-win for me in a way. But James Gonzalez also said the Bears shuffled easily today to the win. Seldom used Jimmy Graham, had 2 touchdowns. Callan says, but we get to bring Mitch and Matt Nagy back in 2021. Callan, I don't know how you feel about that, man. I mean, Matt Nagy, you wanted him gone the entire year. You wanted Mitch gone the entire year as well, and now they're coming back. Yikes, man. I honestly would have rather, if I were a Bears fan, I honestly would have rather had or would rather have my team lose so my coach and my quarterback, get the heck out of town. James Gonzalez also says, Mitchell Trubisky's auditioning for other teams possibly. Yeah, I mean, but you know what? Again, the Bears could still keep him because of the success that he's led them to the last couple of weeks. Especially if he gets them into the postseason, I could see the Bears keeping Mitchell Trubisky.
I don't see it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, because Mark, about these teams where the player has success late in the season, and then the team gets false hope, and they think that the player can build on the success that they had late in the season, and they keep him for another. Yeah, go ahead.
I think if the Bears had any hope for Mitch, they would have given him that 5th-year extension. So I think regardless of what Mitch does, even if he's in the Super Bowl, they wouldn't re-sign him, man. Because they let go of his 5th-year extension for a reason. They are done with Mitchell Trubisky. In their head, regardless of what he does this week, next week, they're not making. He's not saying. I'm sorry. Mitch Trubisky is a goner. As for Matt Nagy, I hope for the sake of Chicago fans that he gets released. And that's my take.
Yeah, Casey King says Bears own the tiebreaker on the Arizona Cardinals. So if Arizona loses, I believe, if Arizona loses, the Bears get into the playoffs. Callan chimes in. He says the Bears with a win or a loss by Arizona clinches the playoff berth for Chicago. And also, James Gonzalez also says, I want the Bears in the playoffs and would make Trubisky's trade stock go up slightly. But then again, I don't know which team would take Mitchell Trubisky because, his reputation has been damaged this past year. A lot of people have been really piling crap on him. So we'll see what this upcoming offseason. And Callan writes in to troll me. He says, hold on, let me pull up. You've already had enough humble pie as is this season. Let's not forget, you picked Denver to win the AFC West division.
Dude, that was such a bad take that Isaiah internet crashed out. It just shows the Denver Broncos are a joke. Isaiah's hot takes are a joke. And that's just how it rolls around here in the MI6 network. As for the Bears, though, like we were saying, I just don't see Mitch Trubisky staying longer than this year. I mean, there's a reason they let go of his 5th-year offer, to be honest, option. Because if you even had the slightest hope, you would have kept that 5th-year option, man. I think you really would have. So the way I see it is, he's gone. It's over. What's your take, Shardle?
Trubisky should be gone, and and he should try and see if other teams could want to take him.
I agree with you there. Honestly, it just doesn't make sense anymore for the Bears to keep him unless you want to deal with mediocrity.
Yeah, I agree with Martin that he should be gone. Like, why are they keeping him if they don't if why are they still keep why are they gonna bring him back next year for 2021?
No
Just doesn't
clue.
make any it just doesn't make any sense why they would bring Nagy and Trubisky back next year for the Bears.
I agree. And James Gonzalez said, "Bruh, Isaiah leaving." Nothing new though, James. Isaiah's internet is the crappiest of the crap. If we're being honest here, he comes in and out more than anybody. But since this was our final topic of the night, let's go to our final takes here. My final takes will be simple. The Bears are not making the playoffs, so I'm sorry, Bear fan. The Raider fans, which is me, we're not making the playoffs, clearly. We might even keep Carr next year, sadly. The Raiders are kind of, I don't know, man. I'm just going on a rant because the Raiders are my team and they keep blowing each season, man. I'm tired of losing. I haven't seen the Raiders win since 2016. Even then, it was false hope because Carr got injured in Week 16. I just want the Raiders to win. That's just why I rant so much about the Raiders. As for Seattle, like I said, I mean they're gonna march into the playoffs and they're gonna get hot. And they're gonna make the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. The Packers to me are pretenders. They've been since week 2 or week 3. I never thought they were contenders. And Aaron Rodgers will not win another title with Green Bay. I'm sorry. And that's just my hot take on that. So my final picks for the playoffs: Cardinals go in, Rams sneak out because Jared Goff out. Good luck with that. And that's just my hot takes here. What's your final takes, Isaiah? Chardon, my bad, Isaiah.
My final picks are I think I'm not sure. The Rams are gonna get in. The Raiders are not in. The Raiders are not. The Raiders. I'm not sure what my takes are.
It's all good, man. But I agree,
Yeah.
James, man. I agree, dude. You got to rate on the Raiders, dude. The Raiders collapsed another season in a row. It's not Derek Carr. I'm sorry. I support Carr. This guy is a great quarterback. Just horrible management from the offensive coordinator to the head coach. Horrible schemes late in the game. I don't know. You got to start blaming Gruden eventually, man, because time management trash. The conferences team fake. The Raiders should be a playoff team, man, and we're left with this. So I agree with you, James. Go out and rant about the Raiders. Say how bad they are. Say how Gruden has to get traded, whatever. Just go off on them, man. They deserve this because they have been trash, hot trash. They've been worse than the Bears, man. I'm sorry. Welcome back, Isaiah.
Thanks, man. Sorry about that, guys. I had some technical difficulties, but let's move on to some of the headlines around the NFL. And a major headline that broke today, earlier in the morning, was that the Denver Broncos have put the kibosh on the rumors surrounding their head coach, Vic Fangio. Adam Schefter reported today that the Denver Broncos are retaining their head coach, Vic Fangio. They're bringing him back for a third season. Martin, Vic Fangio, the Broncos have struggled in his 2 years there. The Broncos were 7-9 last season. Right now, they are 5-10, and they have one more game left in the season. They are 12-19 under Fangio. What do you make of the Broncos' decision to bring back Vic Fangio?
To me, it just comes as continuity because I don't think Vic Fangio really is a great coach. I think they just want to build a certain culture. They want to build this continuing culture, and they're giving Vic Fangio the benefit of the doubt. Because, I mean, let's be real. The Broncos, the Raiders, even the Chargers, they have some leeway because the Chiefs are dominating the AFC West for a while, so they have the leeway of taking their time to develop. But eventually, they do have to step up and make that extra leap. I don't think Vic Fangio is the answer, man. I mean, you could blame Drew Lock, you could blame Fangio, but the Broncos have been irrelevant since Peyton Manning left, and that's just the truth. And honestly, if they didn't win that Peyton Manning sweepstakes, they probably would have been irrelevant the whole time. Just with Tebow Mania, that would have been the only headline. I think the Broncos still need to go out, find their right coach, possibly even find the right management, because I don't think John Elway is the answer either, if I'm being honest with you guys. The Broncos have some work to do, just like the rest of the AFC West teams. But Big Fangio extension, it won't do any good, man. I'm sorry. It's just extending mediocre play, mediocre success. And that's the truth.
Yeah, Martin, valid points there. For me, I got to disagree with you. I think that this is a good move by the Denver Broncos to retain Vic Fangio. I know that you guys know that I am a huge fan of Vic Fangio. I lobbied for the guy to be a head coach ever since his days as the 49ers defensive coordinator, and I was extremely overjoyed when he finally got that elusive head coaching gig with Denver. I know that the Broncos under Vic Fangio, they've struggled in his 2 years there. Like I mentioned earlier, they're 12-19 in 2 seasons with Vic Fangio as the head coach. And there's been a lot of critics criticizing Vic Fangio, but the reason why I think that this is a good move for the Broncos is because Vic Fangio's forte is defense, and the Denver Broncos' problems are not defensive or defense related. They are offense related. The defense this season has been really good despite not having Von Miller, who suffered a severe ankle injury before the season started and has missed the entire year. They also had Jarrell Casey, who they got from the Tennessee Titans, who is their nose tackle and best run stopper on their team, only played 4 games this season. And in their secondary, Bryce Callahan, their highest paid corner, he's had to miss majority of the season with a knee injury. And AJ Boye, who is a top corner when healthy, who they got from Jacksonville, he's been in and out of the lineup. And still, that defense for the Denver Broncos has been stout. And a lot of that credit, I think goes to Vic Fangio. That defense has been really good no matter who is in that starting lineup. But the offense, however, has been a totally different story. It's been a huge disappointment, and it's been the unit that is costing the Denver Broncos games. Drew Lock, like I said earlier, he is not the Broncos' future franchise quarterback. This guy has regressed big time. Pat Shurmur, the guy runs an offense that would be putting up a ton of points if it was ran in the 90s, but except we are living now in 2020, not the 1990s. So his offense is ancient. It's outdated. Philip Lindsay, who I would say is the engine to this offense, he's been in and out of the lineup. And Cortland Sutton, who was a Pro Bowl wide receiver who had 1,000+ yards receiving last season. He tore his ACL in week 6. He's been out for majority of the year. And Jerry Jeudy, who is supposed to be the best wide receiver in this past draft, he has struggled mightily with drops. So if you combine all that together, that's why you have an offense right now that is in the bottom tier of the NFL. I get Vic Fangio has struggled with clock management and decision-making late in games. But if you give him a good quarterback this offseason to pair with his pretty good defense, the Broncos – and also a fairly healthy ball club, I think the Denver Broncos make the playoff. They are talented. They've got the pieces. They just need the right quarterback, and they need to stop being plagued by injuries. That's been the problem for the Denver Broncos this season in Vic Fangio's entire tenure as the head coach there. And I think that, Elway giving him a pass on this season is a good decision. I really hope that Denver goes out this offseason and gets either a Matt Ryan or a Matthew Stafford or a veteran quarterback who is available to compete with Drew Lock, because, Drew Lock is not the answer. They need a guy that can come in, compete with him, and maybe it can get him like motivated and charged up and play better. And who knows, if Drew Lock doesn't win that competition, you can always have Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford be that veteran quarterback to, throw the ball to these talented young wide receivers and running backs that you got on that ball club. So I think it's a good decision to bring back Vic Fangio. But Vic Fangio, his first order of business, besides getting that quarterback, he's got to fire Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur is running a very ancient offense. This is not a modern day offense. He should have never gotten rid of Rich Scangarello, who was the Broncos offensive coordinator last season. They go to Shurmur because he's like a big name. He's an experienced guy, and that decision has backfired on Vic Fangio. It was the dumbest decision he could have made. And if I'm Vic Fangio, Martin, I'm going to Rich Scangarello's house and begging him to come back to be the offensive coordinator, because that guy had a lot of success with Drew Lock as his quarterback. Drew Lock, like that final 5 games that he played, Rich Scangarello was the guy calling plays for him. Now you move him to Pat Shurmur, Drew Lock looks like a completely different quarterback. So I would fire Pat Shurmur if I'm Vic Fangio, and I think he needs to do that in order to save his job. But let's see what the fans have to say.
Isaiah, just like Casey King says, Elway is the issue, man. This guy has been in for how many years now? I think 10 years or more at this point.
10 years.
He's brought in nothing outside of Peyton Manning, man. This guy can't draft quarterbacks. He can't develop Super Bowl contenders outside of Manning. I mean, he's built a defense, but a defense can't carry a mediocre offense. And that's just a fact. I mean, the Broncos have been trash offensively for a while now, since Peyton Manning last year in the NFL. The problem is John Elway. Elway has too much control and too little results to the show, man. You got to let go of your fan favorite guy, John Elway, because obviously he won Super Bowls with the Broncos. He's a legend for the Broncos. But some guys just can't manage football clubs, and that's okay. Just you got to be able to take him to the side and tell him, sorry, man, this is not working out. Just step down, and we're going to bring a real GM to make this team great as it once was with you, because it isn't anymore, man. And it's been long enough. It's time to go. Pack up your bags, and let's bring in a real GM. Let's bring in some real quarterbacks. Let's bring in a youth movement, and let's bring in the real head coach, because Fangio is not going to work out when you have Elway running the show.
Yeah, I agree with you, Martin. The Broncos, they definitely need to get rid of John Elway. This is not working out. I would honestly fire Elway first before Fangio, because I think Fangio's been all right as the Broncos head coach. He hasn't been like the main issue. But yeah, Elway definitely needs to go. The guy can't draft quarterbacks. He can't sign quarterbacks outside of Peyton Manning. He can't get or like draft or develop or sign an offense that can be competent on the field. So he is the problem for the Denver Broncos. Also, James Gonzalez says, seems like the Broncos think they have the right pieces in place, but they don't. And James also has a question for us, Martin. Who is Denver drafting need-wise? What do you think?
I think Denver goes into the offseason and you have to draft a quarterback, not in the first round, obviously, but you have to draft a quarterback in the first 3 rounds, I believe so. And then from there, what you do is you double down on defense. The defense is getting older, and I mean, that's been your little blueprint this whole time with Elway. Elite defense, a decent offense. If you could build that elite defense again to a top 3 defense with a decent quarterback, decent young pieces of running back and wide receiver, I truly think the Broncos will be back sooner than you would think. But it all starts with having a real quarterback and rejuvenating that defense, because that defense is getting older, man. It's the truth. Von Miller's getting older. Chubb's getting older. this whole team's getting older, man. And I think the only way they win is rejuvenate that defense first or second, I guess. But bring in a quarterback that can compete. Bring in a quarterback that can at least make the young boy try harder. Because let's be real, their quarterback right now is not that bright. I mean, that's your guy, Isaiah, but he's not a good quarterback. I'm sorry. I'd rather take Marcus Mariota than him at this moment.
Martin, I think for me, I think what Denver has to do, by the way, welcome back, Shardo. I think what Denver needs to do in the draft is I wouldn't draft the quarterback because I don't trust John Elway to draft that quarterback. I mean, how many quarterbacks has John Elway ripped on ever since he took over as the president of football operations man for the Denver Broncos? I mean, Paxton Lynch, that didn't work out. Brock Osweiler, that didn't work out. Trevor Siemian, who they got in the 7th round, that didn't work out. And now Drew Lock. Drew Lock, like, he had a good 5 games, but that's looking like that didn't work out. And in free agency, I mean, Case Keenum, whip. They also got, I'm trying to remember his name, but they whipped on a bunch of guys in free agency. Elway whipped on a bunch of guys in the draft.
But that's why I'm saying – But that's why I'm saying what you need a draft, man, is a GM, a real GM.
Yeah, they need a real GM. But I don't think that they're going to do it right now because, you know, the Broncos are still living off the nostalgia of Elway. He's like the Michael Jordan pretty much in Denver. So, yeah, so if they were to, like, fire him, like, you know, I mean, I think that some of the fan base is, you know, getting to that point where they want to fire Elway, but if you fire Elway, people are going to be like, whoa, you did what? But I just don't trust Elway to draft the quarterback, so that's why I wouldn't say I know their need is a quarterback, but I wouldn't say to draft one this season because I don't trust Elway, but I would say
what do you think
Elway,
of Cam Newton?
No, because Cam Newton can't throw the football. He can't. He's not a good pocket passer anymore. You've seen what he has done in New England when teams stack the box and put a spy in the middle to stop him from running. He can't do anything. So I wouldn't go after him. I would go after a Matt Ryan or a Stafford, maybe Carson Wentz, Trubisky. Probably not, even though I think Vic Fangio, that might be the guy because, you know, Fangio was in Chicago with Matt Nagy and also Mitchell Trubisky, so that might be the guy, but who knows? But I would definitely take my chances in free agency than drafting a quarterback in the draft. But to answer your question, James, I think what the Broncos need to do is, like Martin said, I think they need to get better defensive players because, you know, they're getting older now. Von Miller is getting older. They've got needs in the secondary. A lot of guys are always banged up. So I would reinvest in that defense. And also, I would reinvest in that offensive line because, you know, I know Denver's has had quarterback issues, but their main issue – or besides quarterback, is offensive line. Their offensive line is not good. They're not a good offensive line. They suck at pass blocking. They suck at run blocking. So you got to win in the trenches if you want to win football games in this league. So I would definitely draft some offensive linemen to help protect that, you know, quarterback that is going to be there next season. Callan writes in, he says, like I say, former franchise superstar players don't belong in front offices. Totally agree with you, Callan. James Gonzalez says, I remember Denver used to have great or good running backs who's had 1,000 or 2,000 yard rushing seasons. James also has another question for us, Martin. What are the chances the Broncos draft Zach Wilson out of BYU?
I don't think the Broncos go that early in the draft to draft a quarterback. It's possible, but I just don't see them. I don't think they're over their quarterback right now. They're not over their young quarterback right now. So I think they still give I forgot his name. What's his name, Isaiah? He's your favorite quarterback. Oh my gosh, I have a brain fart right now.
Drew Lock.
Yeah, Drew Lock. I don't even know why I forgot his name, but Drew Lock. He's still a young quarterback, and I think Elway still has some belief in him. So I don't think he goes out of his way to draft a quarterback in the first round, middle first round. I don't think they go that far. But like I said, if Zach Wilson falls to the second round, it's possible. It's very possible. And if it happens, I'll tell you what, Zach Wilson will beat out Drew Lock for the starting quarterback position in week 1. Because Drew Lock was just kind of a guy that had a lot of swagger, and he got really popular early on. But since then, he hasn't done very much to prove why he's a starter. So if Zach Wilson falls to second round, I can see Broncos taking him. I really can, and maybe that'll start the new legacy of Zach Wilson, and it'll start a new narrative for John Elway. Maybe it'll start the narrative of him drafting actual quarterbacks. We'll see.
I'll tell you this, Callan would not want to see the Broncos draft Zach Wilson, because if they do, you guys know that I would be so hyped up about Zach Wilson and the Broncos. I will be parading him around like he's the second coming of Steve Young. So Callan doesn't want to see that. James also says Trevor Siemian and Brock Osweiler were the two busts for Elway. Yeah, Elway, he has a really bad track record of drafting quarterbacks. But Chardot, what was your thoughts on, the Broncos retaining Vic Fangio?
I think it was a bad idea to retain him. He should have been gone and fired since they knew about it, but I don't know why they didn't fire him. So he should have been gone. He should have not stayed. Like, they should have fired him years ago, but I'm not sure why they didn't, and that's kind of a problem for the team. Because they should have fired him years ago, and they didn't do that.
Elway really should have been fired by 2016, 2017.
Yeah, so why did they not do that years ago? Why did they not fire him? That's what I don't get. They should have made the decision and capitalized on it and fired him. He would be gone from the NFL forever. Nobody would ever remember him ever again. He would be out of people's minds.
And now we're welcoming in Stephen Wang. What's your take, Stephen Wang?
Oh, I was just in here to say hi real quick. Really enjoying the show, man. Really enjoying what you guys put together. And Isaiah, where's that new headset mic that you got for your Christmas gift, man? Got to be using that.
Oh, Isaiah looks like Isaiah, you look like a 49er head coach with that mic.
Hey, who knows? Maybe I can.
The next Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers, right?
Hey,
of the 49ers.
I am rocking an orange sweater right now. I'm rocking an orange sweater. You guys know what orange is. Denver, right? We were talking about the Broncos. Maybe John Elway and the Broncos can, renege on their promise to keep Vic Fangio, and I can go to the Broncos office and, strap on these bad boys right here and call plays for the Denver Broncos. Maybe I can get the Denver Broncos winning. How about that, Martin?
I mean, you could probably continue the losing ways of the Broncos. I'll say that. They won't even notice a coach change, man. Because that's how bad that guy is.
You could be my defensive coordinator. How about that?
Oh, my God, no.
But,
no.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up the show for tonight, like I told you guys in the beginning, we are going to reveal my Secret Santa gift that I got from one of our members of the MI6 Sports Network. Like you guys.
Yes!
We did a network Secret Santa for this Christmas, and my gift finally has arrived. I don't know who my Secret Santa is, but I got this envelope today, and I'm ready to open it. Actually, before we do that, we have a comment from Casey King. Fangio is best as defensive coordinator, and he would have let Vic Fangio go. Yeah, I think, some coaches are better suited as coordinators. Others could do well as head coaches. But we'll see what Vic Fangio does in year 3. Because, Martin, I think that Vic Fangio, if the Broncos start off like what they've done the last couple of years, which is 0-4 or 0-3, I could see Vic Fangio getting fired midseason.
I can see it too, man. I can see it too. Vic Fangio, he has a short lifespan left in Denver. I'm sorry. And I think Denver fans are happy to hear that because Vic Fangio, just like every other head coach prior to him, before and after Manning, have been they've been nothing really of nothing to help that team out. But like we said, it all comes down to just changing general managers, man. You just got to do it. The guy can't find a quarterback, and that's what you need to have in the NFL to win. So let's just fire his ass and continue forward.
Yeah, well, they should have hired Kyle Shanahan back in 2017 instead of Vance Joseph when they had their coaching search back then. But, Martin, here we go. Secret Santa reveal. I am ready to open this bad boy, and let's see what I got. All right. Ooh, it looks like it's a pack of trading cards.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, I know.
Open
right?
it up if you want, man.
Yeah, dude. I have an inkling who my Secret Santa is based on just seeing this gift.
I think it's is it a Browns thing?
No, it's just like it's a bunch of trading cards, a bunch of like football
Is it
trading
Ryan?
cards.
Is it Ryan?
I think it is Ryan. I think it is Ryan. But hold on, let me see what we got here in this pack. Ryan, if you are my Secret Santa, really appreciate the gift, man. Merry Christmas to you. But first card, we got a Lewis Billups jersey. A Lewis Billups, not a jersey, a card. Lewis Billups. Let's see. Ooh, we got one from my team. Michael Carter.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think he was part of the, 19. Oh, he was part of the. Yeah, he was the nose tackle for the Niners back in the 1990s. Moving on, Matt Brock.
Matt Brock.
I mean, if you look at his picture right now, he looks kind of like Clay Matthews, right, Martin, without the long hair.
I guess so. He reminds me a little bit of J.J. Watt, man.
Oh, that is true. He does kind of look like J.J. Watt. Bill Fralick. Ever heard of him, Martin?
That I have not. That I have not.
Apparently, he was a guard from the Atlanta Falcons. He was a guard for the Falcons. Let's see. Oh, I think there's one that you and James Gonzalez would like.
Which one?
From your Raiders. Steve Wisniewski.
Oh, yeah. I love that guy. That guy was great a few years back. He was a great center.
He played for your Raiders in the 90s, right? I think.
No, Stephen Wisniewski, or what's his name?
Steve Wisniewski.
Oh, my bad. I mixed it with Stephen. Stephen was a center back in like 10 years ago.
Oh, nice. We have Cleveland Gary.
Cleveland
He was
Gary.
like a running back for the Rams. Martin, you ever heard of Chris Dolman from the Vikings, defensive end?
No, I have not. Have you?
Nope. And then we have another one from Stevens Vikings. Oh my God, dude, this one's signed as well. Joey Browner, strong safety for the minute. Yeah, it's signed right here.
That's cool.
Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me, right, Ryan? Oh my God, Ryan, I love you, bro. Last but not least, here we go.
Who is it? Oh shoot!
Nick freaking Mullins. Yo, look at this. Ryan, appreciate you, man.
Hey Isaiah, do you like my Kobe Bryant rookie card?
Dude, I love your Kobe Bryant card, man. It's hella
It's a
good
rookie card. No stats, no nothing.
Just empty? Just empty?
Yeah, it's literally his rookie premier card.
Oh, damn.
Oh, no stats yet. He was just a brand new rookie, no name.
So, Martin, apparently this Nick Mullins card was actually his Panini debut card when he played the Raiders, and he smoked the Raiders. This
Oh
was
my
like,
god.
I don't know, but Ryan, appreciate the gift, man. I am definitely.
You like that? You like that?
I am definitely going to enjoy these trading cards, man. Especially that Nick Mullins one. Now I have his jersey and I have his trading card, so appreciate you, bud. James Gonzalez says Steve was a Raider for a very, very long time. Yeah, I think I've heard of him. I think he might be Steven Wisniewski's dad. I might be wrong on that. Either uncle or dad. I remember reading something on that.
Yeah, you're probably right because I remember Stefan Wisniewski.
Yeah, yes. I know Stefan Wisniewski played offensive line for the Raiders
Yep.
like 8-10 years ago.
Yep.
James Gonzalez also says that Chris Doman right here is a Hall of Famer. Yeah, Hall of Fame defensive end. He was a superb pass rusher back in his day. So pretty good card. And Martin, this is for you. That Kobe card got to be worth something, man.
It's got to be, man. I mean, it's literally his rookie premier card. It's a really cool card. I like it. I'll look into it eventually, but I haven't looked into it at all.
Don't sell it now though. You should keep it for a while before you sell it.
I agree. Just keep for a while. Keep for like 10 more years, 15 more years. It'll be more valuable then.
Yep. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight, and we're gonna head into our final thoughts for tonight's show. Martin, it's been a fun return to programming here on the MI6 Sports Network. It was a great show talking football with you and revealing my Secret Santa gift that I got. What is your final thoughts for tonight's show?
My final thoughts were already said. Pretty much, I went on a rant on why the Raiders suck. I went on a rant on why the Broncos need to get rid of our boy, our legend quarterback, John Elway. I went on a rant about why the Bears are not making the playoffs, why the Bears are not keeping Mitch Trubisky, and hopefully they get rid of Matt Nagy too. And like I said, my final take here is simple. Seattle will get hot in the playoffs. Seattle will win out. Seattle will be the Super Bowl champions over the Kansas City Chiefs. I know it doesn't look feasible right now, but trust me, they will be the hottest team in the playoffs. And that's all that matters in the playoffs. Who's the hottest team? And that offense can score when they're hot. I'll tell you that. They'll keep up with the Chiefs.
Yeah, great points, Martin. Before I get into my final thoughts, I want to reveal the results of tonight's poll. So apparently, the results of our 31-day challenge poll that we put out, I defeat Stephen Wang 3-1. So that means I believe the Pina Colada is moving on to I think the final four. I might be wrong on that, but. Before I get into my final thoughts as well, I want to thank James Gonzalez, Casey King, as well as Callum McClurg for tuning in to our show tonight. We really appreciate you guys. You guys are truly the best fans on the planet. You guys tune in for every single show, no matter who's the host, no matter who's on the panel, no matter what topic is being discussed, and no matter what loony takes are being said on air, you guys still tune in. That's what I call commitment right there. Really appreciate you guys. My final thoughts is it was a great return of programming. Great to be back here on the MI6 Sports Network. We missed you guys, or I missed y'all for like the last couple of days. It's great to be back. Thank you, Ryan, for the Nick Mullins, trading card. Really appreciate you. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to another week of programming. Looking forward to the final week of the NFL season because Martin, that it's going to be wild with teams clinching playoff spots. Different playoff matchups getting set. coaches getting fired next week, different college coaches maybe going to the NFL. It's going to be a wild, wild week next week in the NFL. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's show. We hope you guys would tune in to tomorrow's night's episode of Wild Sports Talk. Unfortunately, me and Callum McClure won't be able to join the show tomorrow. We will fill you guys in on what's happening with Wild Sports Talk tomorrow afternoon. Keep it up to the MI6 Sports Network page for the latest. But anyways, Martin, thanks for joining me. To the fans out there, thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's show. And we will see you guys back here on the MI6 Sports Network tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody.